There are three major additions that PvP needs right now in Destiny. Number one is Mercenary playlists for Gambit, Mercenary playlists for competitive, and a competitive Rumble playlist. We're going to go a bit more in depth with each of these, starting with a Mercenary playlist for Gambit. First off, let me explain exactly what a Mercenary playlist is. A Mercenary playlist is when you are a solo queue player and you load into a playlist that is just solo queue players. You can't bring a fire team in or a party, it's just you and a bunch of people like you without a party. Many video games prior to Destiny have had Mercenary playlists. Call of Duty comes to mind when I think of a Mercenary playlist. Destiny 1 even had a Mercenary playlist. It was called Freelance, and it's a mystery to me why they didn't bring Freelance back. Destiny has needed a Mercenary playlist now more than ever, simply because of the addition of competitive and Gambit. I'm sure a lot of people are playing with a full fire team for these game modes, or at least another friend or two, but I'd also argue that a lot of those people who have a clan or a lot of friends on to play will always find themselves to be playing alone at some point in the day or in the week, where they end up solo queuing for these game types. This is something that happens to me personally, and I'm sure it happens to many others out there. And it's a bit frustrating why there isn't a Mercenary playlist for these game modes. I think most everyone can agree that when you go into a Gambit match solo queue and you see a 4-stack on the enemy team and everybody on your team's a complete blueberry, you pretty much know the outcome of that situation. Not always is it an instant loss, but I'd say 95% of the time you're not going to win against a 4-stack. In these cases, it's just a little frustrating not to have a Mercenary playlist of some kind. Just give people who play solo their playlist that they can always hop in and just play with a bunch of other randoms who are also solo queue, and let the regular playlist be for a bunch of teams trying to compete against each other, mostly clans against clans. I don't think many people would oppose a Mercenary playlist. So there is a downside to a Mercenary playlist, and let me explain a scenario where it could be bad for the game. Say you're in the regular Mercenary playlist and you're with two buddies, so you have a team of three. You're going up against a team of 4 and you're at 7 out of 8 guardians in the loading screen looking for one more person. Now a solo person can join either your playlist or a solo queue playlist. Now because they have the option of going to a solo queue Mercenary playlist, more often than not that one person will load up a solo queue playlist rather than a team playlist where they know they're going to be facing full teams and they are alone paired with people who they're not coordinating with. In that specific instance, matchmaking could be very frustrating or annoying or time consuming because it would be needing to look for one more person who is willing to play on another team they're not coordinating with rather than join the solo queue only playlist. Now to me, this is the only big negative issue that adding a solo queue only playlist could create. Now moving on to a solo queue only playlist for competitive, something that I think a lot of people are asking for, more so than Gambit. I want to see an addition of a solo queue playlist for competitive, more so than I do for Gambit, because there's such an emphasis on winning in competitive and such a negative if you lose, that solo queuing in the competitive playlist is one of the most frustrating experiences in Destiny. Unless you're a pretty god tier player, getting the Luna's Howl or the Not Forgotten quest, playing as a solo queue player, it won't be impossible, but it'll be very challenging, and a lot of it will be luck, because if you're a subpar player and you're not giving much towards the team, you're going to have to rely on your teammates way more. And sometimes that revolves around luck. I sometimes get paired with some pretty crappy players, sometimes I get paired with some really good players who carry me to victory. There's a lot of people out there with the mentality that people who are subpar at PvP shouldn't be getting PvP endgame level loot. They shouldn't be getting the Luna's Howl or the Not Forgotten because they are not of the status or the skill deserving to those who put in the time and the effort and have the skill to earn those weapons. I understand why people have this mentality that they want the PvP endgame weapons to be exclusive and hard to attain and not for everybody to earn, that only the skilled players are able to earn them, and I can kind of agree with that, but I think a good compromise would be to have a solo queue only playlist for competitive for those players who don't want a solo queue against full teams. A lot of it would still be up to luck. They would have to be solo queued with players who are also pretty good. I still think the challenge would be there to get those level of rewards. I don't think necessarily it would be a better way to play competitive than it would be to have a team of 4 running in a competitive playlist. I think it might just make the solo queue experience not so shitty. And the third and final addition that I think could help with the competitive playlist in some way is maybe instead of doing what I just said with the solo queue playlist, or on top of doing that, they add a Rumble playlist that allows you to earn glory rank. Only the top 2 players in the Rumble playlist would earn glory rank and the rest would lose rank. I can imagine this competitive playlist would be ultra sweaty and I probably wouldn't be in there too often, but also in another way for players who want a solo queue who are pretty good players but feel like they've been getting paired with a lot of noobs. I think this is a pretty good way for those people to find a playlist for them where they can just go in and show their true skill and not have to rely on teammates or anybody else to just prove that they are the best. I thought that was a pretty good idea. I saw a tweet that said something about a Rumble playlist for competitive to earn glory rank. I thought it'd be a pretty good idea, so I added it here in the video. I don't remember who tweeted it, but I just saw it show up on my timeline. Someone retweeted it. Thought it was a pretty damn good idea, so let me know what you think of that addition, and let me know what you think of the video. Let me know what you think of the addition of a Mercenary playlist, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.